What's up guys, welcome back to Let's Play the Brigmore Witches. So, if I didn't say so at the end of the last video, the non-lethal option for that encounter is actually just to talk to the guy who's keeping Mr. Hat alive, who's manipulating him, and get the option from him. And basically he just has you go to the sewer anyway to turn the water back on, which means you can go through the whole thing without killing anyone. It actually makes you on good terms with the Hatters as well. So you can basically just walk through this entire level without having to fight anyone because both gangs are getting along with you. They're still going to fight each other, like right here, of course. Obviously, this is kind of one-sided, so being we're going the high chaos route, I'm going to go ahead and help out my dead eel partner here. And blow them away! Alright, so what we're over here to actually do is to go up to this the secret shop up here that this guy runs out of his apartment and buy a particular ingredient for the antidote. Jerome's Black Market Shop. Alright, we can actually take that key from him if we had to. Get into his safe.
If you'd prefer. It's Dowd, right? Recognized your face from the posters. Not that I'd ever say anything to anyone, believe me. I'd be happy to have you for a customer.
What are you selling?
Tell me what strikes your fancy.
Alright, so we can stock up on some items during the mission for a change, which is pretty nice considering we had that option in the main campaign, but not in the DLC. So I would recommend leaving this guy alive so you can shop with him, because the rewards you get for killing him and taking what's on him, including the key, is just not worth it. You don't really get anything. There's a couple of other items lying around here we can pick up, but nothing really worth it. Nothing substantial, definitely. But we bought what we needed. We stocked up on a few critical supplies here that I'm definitely going to be using when we go on to the final level. And then I bought that critical ingredient for... We're just going to take his bread and his money and everything else and just sell it right back to him. You ever notice how that happens during a lot of like RPGs? It's like you'll find loot lying around in a shop and then just go sell it right back to the shop like they didn't notice. Anyway, so we have all the ingredients for the antidote now, so let's backtrack. The reason I did this on screen, even though this is technically backtracking, is just so you guys would know where to go to find that shop, and so we could show the shop itself on screen. So I didn't actually do anything with this arc pylon yet. I didn't have a rewire tool to use on it. I often don't have rewire tools because I feel like if I'm going to need one, I'll just find it in the environment, but a lot of times that ends up not being the case. They are very useful, especially if you're on high chaos, because you can just vaporize tons of enemies like I did in the first level inside Coldridge as the Overseer. Just setting up that encounter was really optimal for cleaning out the entire prison of all of its guards and just getting a high body count if that's what you're going for. Alright, so let's go ahead and go back up to Mr. Hat again. We're going to get into a couple of encounters here. I really like to bring out my fellow assassin, either to distract the guy that I'm fighting, so it's easier to have a sword encounter with him, because he's having to fight off 2 against 1, which usually does not go very well. So this is especially true in a real sword fighting encounter. Encounters do not last very long. There's no really such thing as a 20-minute long sword fight like you see in most action movies. It's over in a matter of seconds. Such tends to be the case with this game. And I commented before on how some of the different types of cuts and actions are relatively realistic in this game, but I say relatively because no game really gets it perfect. Alright, so let's see. We have this bottle attached to the machine here. I'm pretty sure... Yeah, here we go. We can go ahead and combine it. The timer that's over there on the counter, I don't think that really ties into this at all. I don't think it really does anything. It's just sort of there for context. We're doing an excellent job of taking these guys out. Alright, so let's go ahead, and now that we have the antidote to survive the toxin... Oh, I forgot to pick that up when I killed that guy. His body disintegrated, of course, thanks to Shadow Kill.
You gotta kill me now. None of your fancy knife shit. Just pull out the oil. When it's out, I'll give you the code.
Alright, so we're going to go ahead and rip the whale oil canister out, because that's what he wants. Apparently he doesn't want us to just stab him. Although I'm sure we could do that if we really wanted to, but then we'd be at a disadvantage because we wouldn't have the antidote.
You set me free, kid. Hatters are finished. That's good. And, something. Wish it had been Lizzie. I gave her the password a long time ago.
It's interesting how in most every other scenario throughout this game, including the DLC, every time you have a situation where you can just straight up kill the person, it's usually much, much faster than the non-lethal route. But in this case, it probably is about the same length, if not longer. It's actually, in my opinion, easier and quicker to go the non-lethal route, because you have to go to the sewers anyway. You don't have to run around. You don't have to go up to the lab up there. You don't have to run around making that antidote, because you won't ever have to kill Mr. Hat. So we're going to go ahead and use the gate code. I think I read it incorrectly. Let me refer back to my notes. So the first two characters are 8-3, and the last one is a mystery. So we can just set that to 8-3, and then just start toggling the last one until we get it right, I guess. Alright. It was one of those. So I don't care for these rats, so we're going to blow them up if we can. Because nothing is too extreme when you're dealing with rats, of course. After leaving a couple of bloody puddles there, we finally find the engine coil. So again, we don't necessarily have to go through the sewers here, but I definitely think it's important for the story, so I'm going to be doing that. We're going to be turning the water back on and getting some pretty important items, some runes and bone charms that are down here. But yeah, you would have to go through here anyway if you were doing the non-lethal route. But overall, I do feel like that's faster. Another instance where lethal is slower, debatably, than non-lethal and more dangerous is actually in Dunwall Tower in the main games campaign when you're actually taking out the Lord Regent. I believe that the lethal route is faster to actually go up there and kill him, because you never even have to go up to the part of the tower where the Lord Regent is. If you're doing non-lethal, you just stay in the upper parts of the tower, but you don't have to go all the way up to the top. As soon as you find the announcer guy and you play that incriminating evidence over the citywide announcement system, then that's it. They just take him away, and you guys saw that in the main campaign. It's pretty straightforward. So we're going to keep going through here. We're going to break our way through this wall. And we should be coming up on a wide open room pretty soon with some nice items in it. There should be... I'm probably going to use my void gaze here in a minute to detect the runes and bone charms in the area. Ooh, there's a young lady over there.
Hello?
She must be lost down here. Let's give her a hand.
I think I can walk if you'll just help me up.
Are you alright?
Oh, sir, thank you for finding me. It's been awful. There are such terrible things down here. But nothing as terrible as I.
Witch! Clearly we haven't been playing enough Left 4 Dead. We should have known better. Alright, so time for a new enemy type. This is one of the Brigmore Witches, actually. We're going to fight her. And they're actually quite difficult. They have their own powers. They are actually more difficult to fight than Dowd's assassins are, relatively speaking. They have some really nasty... They have a nice shout ability that knocks you back and deals a lot of damage. They have like magic projectiles that they launch at you, and they have their own unique swords that have a very interesting design. I think I do an up-close shot of those at some point, but I usually always call my assassins in to help me fight them, so it evens the odds a little bit. So if it's 2-on-1, I'll even the odds that way. There should be another one in this room. I highly recommend as well going all out and using things like explosive bolts and grenades against them. The choke dust is very good against them as well as it is against everything, but they might just straight up blink out if you try to use the choke dust, but it happens pretty rarely. I'm going to dump her body down there and feed her to the rats. So yeah, very tough enemy type, very rewarding to fight this late in the game though, especially with all the experience we've had from the... Wow, we're really overkilling her, aren't we? I mean, like I said, nothing is too extreme when it comes to rats, but we gotta go down there and get an item in a second anyway, so that's why I did that.
Lurk told me you wouldn't give up, even as she knelt before me and gave me all your secrets. I know what you're doing, Dad. I know what that mark on your hand is, just like the one on mine. I know everything you can do, and it won't matter. 4 of us chosen, but history will only remember one. Delilah.
If they remember any of us,